Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has dropped a bombshell. He's tied Indian government agents to the murder of Sikh separatist leader Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Now, why is this a bombshell? Well, it's because Hardeep lived in British Columbia and he was also murdered there by a foreign government, allegedly. The problem? Well, Trudeau hasn't given any proof. Now, according to the Washington Post, Trudeau originally asked the United States and their other closest allies to jointly announce the Canadian findings, but they weren't into it. Still, though, this revelation has sent shockwaves through the international community. The Atlantic, The Economist, CBS, Financial Times, you name it, it's caught global headlines. Canada holds the distinction of having the highest Sikh population outside of Punjab, so Trudeau has the community support. But he didn't stop at his allegations. He expelled a senior Indian diplomat, which then led to a set of dominoes to fall since. Meanwhile, when it came to Chinese election interference here in Canada, Trudeau knew it was happening for years, but never felt the urge to bring any of that information forward. Both of these events put Canada's sovereignty into question, yet Trudeau only chose to bring one forward without providing any evidence or facts. Today, we're going to unravel this web of events and explore if this is just Trudeau trying to distract us from the mess he's created in the Canadian economy, or if all this media hoopla is warranted. Let's dive in. Hardeep Singh Nijjar was a 45-year-old Sikh leader and a prominent advocate for an independent Sikh nation known as Khalistan. This led to him being designated as a terrorist by Indian authorities in July of 2020, a claim he strongly denied. For those who are unaware, the Khalistan movement began in the 1930s and calls for the creation of a homeland for Sikhs in the Punjab region. The road to Nijjar's Canadian citizenship has been all over the headlines. According to reports, he entered Canada in 1997 under a fabricated identity, where he landed at Pearson Airport using a counterfeit passport under the alias Ravi Sharma. When immigration authorities rejected his claims, Nijjar took another route to secure his stay in Canada. He married a woman from British Columbia who then sponsored his immigration as her spouse, which the Canadian government rejected. He was able to stay in the country despite the false alias and somehow later gained citizenship. Mark Miller, Canada's immigration minister, even confirmed Nijjar's citizenship on social media. Even that is somewhat controversial as two wildly different dates were provided. Now, none of this is really that important, but I'm trying to give you guys a full picture of what's being said on social media and what the mainstream media is reporting about. Nijjar had long been wanted by Indian authorities, who consider Sikh separatists abroad a security threat. The threat to Nijjar's life was so severe that Canada's version of the CIA, CSIS, had issued warnings to him regularly. In 2016, Indian media suspected Nijjar of masterminding a bombing in Punjab and training terrorists in a small city southeast of Vancouver, which again, he consistently refuted. So here's an interesting tidbit that's come up on social media. CNN 18, which is sort of a CNN affiliate in India, published a video allegedly showing him training individuals. So I'm not even certain that this is Nijjar, but the cesspool of bots on Twitter seem to be hotly debating this video's authenticity. I mean, if that video is authentic, it would be quite concerning, but who knows if it is, so let's move on. Nijjar's troubles continued to escalate when Indian authorities accused him of involvement in an alleged attack on a Hindu priest in India. They even offered a substantial reward for information leading to his arrest. And then in June of 2023, Nijjar was shot in the parking lot of a Sikh temple in Surrey, British Columbia, where he served as the president. The masked assailants left Nijjar with multiple gunshot wounds, and he succumbed to his injuries at the scene. Nijjar's death marked the third such incident in 45 days involving Khalistani supporters. Again, Canada has the largest population of Sikhs outside of India, and Nijjar is not actually the first Canadian whom India has labeled a terrorist. During the 70s, 80s, and 90s, Sikh insurgents in northern India waged a violent campaign to fight for Khalistan. Many Sikhs in Canada supported them by raising money and promoting the movement's message in Canadian temples. Some Canadian Sikhs helped separatist cadres travel to Pakistan, where they received financial and military help. In 1985, Talwinder Singh Parmar, a Sikh-Canadian, orchestrated the bombing of Air India Flight 182. The plane exploded over the Atlantic Ocean, killing all 329 passengers and crew members. The plane attack was the deadliest the world would see until September 11, 2001. After the plane bombing, Parmar traveled to India, where he was shot and killed by police. So let's get back to the recent feud between India and Canada. This recently started escalating in early September during the G20 summit, where Trudeau and Indian Prime Minister Modi were jawing at each other over Canada's support of the Sikh community.
Canadian government officials acknowledge that Justin Trudeau's relationship with host Narendra Modi is not good. Modi today pushed Trudeau to rein in Sikh separatists in Canada, and Trudeau says he pushed back on Indian interference in Canada.
Then the feud's main act began with Trudeau's explosive announcement. Trudeau claimed that there was credible evidence linking Indian government agents to Nijjar's assassination.
Canadian security agencies have been actively pursuing credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
This revelation marked a significant escalation in tensions between the two nations, as India vehemently rejected the allegations as absurd and motivated.
Responding to this, India has strongly refuted Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's accusations of its involvement in the killing of a Khalistani terrorist, Hardeep Singh Nijjar. India immediately labelled Trudeau's allegations as absurd and motivated, asserting that there is no basis for such claims.
In response to Trudeau's claims, Canada made a bold move, expelling a high-ranking Indian diplomat, Pavan Kumar Ray, who was revealed to be the head of India's foreign intelligence agency in Canada.
The head of the Indian intelligence in Canada has been expelled as a consequence of the spat over the alleged link between the Indian government and Nijjar's assassination.
India did not back down and promptly ordered a senior Canadian diplomat to leave the country within 5 days, a retaliatory measure that further ratcheted up the feud. And it's all led to the freezing of talks in a new possible trade agreement between the two countries. This is all happening as the world's decoupling from China, and India is emerging as a frontrunner to replace a great deal of the manufacturing that happens in China. Naturally, no international feud would be complete without the involvement of those on the global stage adding to the drama. It was reported that Canada wanted its Five Eye allies to come together and condemn India. The Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance comprises of Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, and the United States. But Trudeau was shut down. The allies simply expressed their support for transparent investigations to proceed and chose to maintain their relationship with both countries. Now, as if this diplomatic thriller needed more plot twists, there's been some other incidents that have played out on the sidelines. For example, a parade in Brampton featured a float depicting the assassination of Indira Gandhi, which further incensed India. What is that? This might be the most bizarre float I've seen since that episode of Family Guy where Peter Griffin won the right to design the float in Quahog and shows the shower scene from Who's the Boss. Anyways, let's get back on track. The Canadian government also took the notable step of updating its travel advisory to India, now urging Canadian citizens to avoid all travel to the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir due to an unpredictable security situation, citing threats of terrorism, militancy, civil unrest, and kidnapping. India responded in kind, issuing an advisory for nationalists and students in the country. A day later, India halted processing visas for Canadians entirely while calling the country a safe haven for terrorists, extremists, and organized crime. What's really happening here? Did India have a Canadian citizen murdered on Canadian soil? Well, we don't know. If they did, that's not something to joke about. But right now, we just simply don't know. And as the cops would tell the great Jim Leahy on Trailer Park Boys whenever he tried busting Julian and Ricky,
well, I don't know, but anyone here likes to suck my cock!
Words that Justin needs to understand. But let's get back to his allegations.
Canada is a rule of law country. The protection of our citizens and defense of our sovereignty are fundamental.
So it's necessary that we announce this without evidence because we want to defend our sovereignty. But when it comes to China's election interference here in Canada, that's not important to tell us about because that has nothing to do with our sovereignty. I think you guys know where I'm going here. Would Justin Trudeau ever use the media to distract us from his diving poll numbers, recent divorce, and the economic disaster that's brewing in this country? Well, it seems that for Trudeau, it's less about tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and more about tell the truth, some truth, and whatever makes a good headline to distract us from the mess that this country is currently in. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments section. Do you think that this is a serious allegation that we should be putting a lot of attention into? Do you think it's a distraction from Trudeau's diving reputation? Let me know what you think in the comments section. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button, subscribe, ring that notification bell. All right, I love you all. So guys, we just recently launched this channel and we noticed that 99.9% of our viewers are not subscribed. So if you enjoyed this video, we need your help in growing this channel. By subscribing, that would help us keep the lights on and make sure that our crews have jobs in these uncertain times. So please hit that subscribe button, and we promise to make more quality videos that I'm sure you're going to love.